Makhi Hughes. Let's go to number 5 on our consensus list. He was my running back 9, and you had him at number 3. And no disrespect to Makhi Hughes, just how I rank these guys as I watched them. He's now at Oregon, was at Tulane, 5'10", 210 unofficially. He was the only show in town, or the big show in town at Tulane last season. 100-meter guy, but I won't tell you and Sharon his 100 time because you guys are nasty like that. 5.3 yards per carry, 26 targets, had 7 games of over 100 rushing yards, 1 game of over 40 receiving yards. I didn't think he was, I thought he was a solid back. He didn't strike me as being as twitchy as I would have liked compared to some of these other running backs. He felt like more of a zone scheme between the tackles guy, but you can correct me if you feel differently about that. Used primarily as a dump-off receiver in terms of running back routes, and then you give him the ball and as your dump-off guy, and then let him do the rest. Struggle a little bit in pass pro, but technically all these running backs seem to. What were your thoughts about Makhi Hughes to have you put him 3?
So initially, to start my list, he was 2 until I watched C.J. Baxter, late, and he was my running back 2. But to your point, I think he is a really good outside zone runner. I think he has just a knack for that. And if you look at what our league is right now, is a high percentage of everyone is running outside zone concepts. And so this guy has a workhorse mentality. He's a no-nonsense runner. He does a really good job of hugging blocks and staying tight to blocks. He just has a good feel, good instincts, good vision. And the most impressive thing about this guy is 523 carries at Tulane with 0 fumbles. Mm-hmm. And so that was the most impressive stat that I found. And I agree. There are instances and areas where he's going to have to get better, and that's like making guys miss at the second level, because I think he leaves some yards on the field just punishing guys. But the one thing that I went back, and I just didn't have the time to study it and go back and dig a little bit deeper, but you rarely see him get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. And so that's something I want to go back and, for anybody that's watching this, if we post this on YouTube, drop it in the comments if you can find it. But I'll be interested to know in what his tackle for loss rate is, because in the games that I watched, which was Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Temple, he didn't get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. And to your point, him in the passing game, most of these young guys, when I'm watching them and I'm evaluating, all you have to do is show me you want to. Just show me that you want to block, that you want to put your face on people. I don't expect them to know the technique because they're not asked to do that. And even in terms of running routes, I just look for movement skills. And do you have the ability to cut outside your frame? Can you double up, make guys miss, and have the ability to catch the ball? Because in college football, you don't really see guys catch the ball a ton, which was one of the reasons why I really like Jaden Blue this past cycle as a change of pace guy, because you saw him run routes and you saw him, I think he had over 30, 40 catches last season. So I'm a big fan of Makhi Hughes. And I do think as the process goes, and especially in this Oregon offense, where it's going to be more spread and he's going to have more natural creases to hit it, this is going to be a guy that's going to rise on a lot of boards probably later once the coaches get their eyes on him, because he's a good fit for what teams like to do.
And Bucky Irving, last year they had a running back drafted. So they turned those running backs out in that offense. I didn't have a great comp for him. I'll throw it out there at you, and you can tell me what you think. Dylan Johnson out of UW a couple of years ago when they went to the national title game, who was more of a between-the-tackles guy. Maybe Makhi's a little bit more dynamic. Dylan played injured late in that season. That's part of the reason he wasn't able to help him as much as he had earlier in the year. But at 5'10", 210, I think he plays bigger than he weighs unofficially. But I don't know if you have a thought of someone who comes to mind in terms of who his game could be comped to.
The first guy that came to mind when I was watching was the guy we had in San Francisco, and Elijah Mitchell, that we took in the 6th round. Ooh. And prior to Elijah Mitchell getting hurt, our analytics numbers told us when he came out, he was the number 1 outside zone runner in that draft class. And if you remember, he makes the team. He was the backup running back behind Raheem Mostert. And in week 1, Mostert goes down with a knee injury. This guy goes on, rushes for 100 yards, and leads the team with 900 yards rushing. Now, he's suffered injuries and dealt with injuries, throughout his NFL career. But when he's healthy, he's a load to bring down. And they're built very similar, compact, well-built, well-proportioned guys. And I think, again, 523 carries, I think he's got 40, 50 career catches, no fumbles. And you can see it when he runs the ball. He wraps the ball up, tie and tight, and he carries it. And the other thing is that, you talked about his track speed. Like, I don't know what his track time was, but if I had to put an estimated 40, I think he's plenty fast. You don't see him really finish in the end zone on the long runs, but I think he's going to be a 4.47 to 4.48 guy.
Okay. Well, like I ain't telling you or Sharon his 100 times, so don't even ask because I don't want you disparaging that young man.